About 2 or 3 years ago, I guess 2019, maybe January, the Democrats, maybe February, the Democrats unveiled their Big for the People Act, which was known as H.R. 1 in the House, ultimately became S1 in the House and the Senate, I should say. This is the one that Joe Manchin has basically said he won't vote for.
Ends partisan gerrymandering, creates a process that would crack down on corruption with a matching system, among other things. And
voting rights. And this was going to be a big rollout. It's an impressive piece of legislation. And the Democrats stepped all over it because they were falling all over themselves to criticize Ilhan Omar at the time because she had said something to the effect of, the Israeli lobby is outsized in Washington, D.C., which was a rather uncontroversial statement when Tom Friedman said it, for instance. Yet she was attacked, and it's as if we have a reprise. The other day that she was talking about the International Criminal Court, she used the word United States, Hamas, Israel, and Taliban all in the same sentence. And apparently you're not allowed to do that. And the Democrats, or I should say a small group of Democrats, plus the Democratic leadership, chastised her for this. And this is good to see. John Yarmuth, congressman from Kentucky, the third district, I should say, came out. There was a couple of other Democrats who came out and said, enough is enough. This is ridiculous.
The squad, but more than that, too.
But more than that. And here's Yarmuth, not a Democratic socialist from the Bronx, but rather a congressman from Kentucky. And here is, he comes out and defends Ilhan Omar. Check this out.
Well, I think a lot of my colleagues overreacted to her remarks. I think it's always fair for a member to criticize the policies of a government or of a governmental leader. I've been highly critical of the Israeli government's policies, and now former Prime Minister Netanyahu. I don't think anybody would call me anti-Semitic. And I think that's, again, I think they just overreacted, without actually considering exactly what she said. And, the fact that you'd put Hamas and in the same sentence with the United States does not necessarily mean that you're equating the two. But I think that was an unfair assumption that some of my colleagues made.
There was a resolution that came out today authored by Congressman Waltz, and Rashida Tlaib is named, AOC is named, Ayanna Pressley is named, Ilhan Omar is named. You are not named. Betty McCollum is not named. Mark Pocan is not named. All of you have been critical of Israel. All of you have called Israel an apartheid state. Mm-hmm. Why aren't you named in the resolution?
Well, I'm neither black nor female nor Muslim. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right. Congresswoman Omar has as much right to criticize Israel or any other government or any other national leader as any other member of Congress without being singled out.
Awesome.
And we should say Yarmuth is Jewish, and so he. Are
you sure he doesn't have internalized anti-Semitism?
I will leave that to others to decide. But good for him.
This is writing something up right now.
Good for him for coming out. That's important, and it is, I think, an indication of a growing sort of sense, at least in the institutionalization on some level of the more progressive members of the House, where they're getting, some measure of at least just sort of decent protection. There's not a knee-jerk attack on them or fear of defending them. And
just good job and a recognition that his Democratic colleagues who aid and abet this are complicit in the death threats and vitriol leveled at Ilhan Omar and AOC and whoever else speaks out against this. I mean, he makes the point that it is a racialized, misogynistic undertone, at least, you know, from the right wing for sure, and Democratic leadership is at the very least blind to it, but I think they're aware of it and they're trying to use her as a punching bag in order to shore up a specific kind of base. And
I think that's true too, and I think they're also and a distraction, and it's a mistake, and good for Yarmuth. That is, it's nice to see.